Alex lay in his cluttered bedroom, surrounded by forgotten dreams and dusty posters that once inspired him. The room was dimly lit, only the cold blue glow of his phone screen lighting up his face. He had been scrolling for hours, lost in endless videos and posts, drowning in his own laziness. At 25, Alex had once carried big ambitions. He wanted to speak English fluently and become a motivational speaker, to stand in front of people and inspire them. But year after year, his excuses grew, and his motivation faded, buried under layers of procrastination and self-doubt. As he aimlessly tapped on his phone, his finger accidentally opened an old voice note. A familiar voice suddenly filled the room, deep, warm, and slightly cracked with age. It was his late father's voice, a message he hadn't heard in years. The words pierced through the silence like lightning. "Son, the world won't wait for you. If you don't fight for your dreams, no one will. Time slips away faster than you think. Don't waste it." Alex froze, his heart pounding as the message played. It felt as though his father was right there, sitting beside him, looking into his eyes. A lump formed in his throat. He hadn't thought about those words in years, brushing them aside every time they crossed his mind. But now, alone in that quiet room, the message hit differently. He felt exposed, almost ashamed. He realized that no one else was responsible for his stagnant life but himself. The phone slipped from his hand, and for the first time in a long while, Alex didn't scroll. He just lay there, staring at the ceiling, with his father's words echoing in his heart, awakening something inside him that had been asleep for far too long. The next afternoon, Alex found himself wandering aimlessly outside, his mind still replaying his father's words. He ended up at a nearby park, a place filled with the simple sounds of life. Children's laughter, birds singing, and the quiet footsteps of elderly people walking along the paths. He sat alone on an old wooden bench, watching as life moved around him, everyone seemingly having a purpose except for him. As he stared at the passing clouds, his attention was drawn to a young boy nearby. The boy, around 8 or 9, sat on the grass with his little sister. His clothes were worn but clean, and his face lit up with determination as he spoke in broken English, slowly teaching his sister simple words. This is, apple," the boy said, holding up a shiny red apple with a wide smile. His sister giggled and repeated after him, stumbling on the words. But the boy didn't seem embarrassed by his mistakes or their limited English. Instead, he laughed with her and kept trying, patiently repeating every word. Alex couldn't help but listen closely. The boy's face glowed with pride as he softly said, "We learn English. Mama says, we need it for better life. We must try. Every day." Those simple words struck something deep within Alex. He watched as the boy's small hands carefully guided his sister, his eyes filled with hope despite their struggles. Alex's chest tightened. Here was a young boy, with far fewer opportunities than him, fighting every day to learn, to grow, and to help his family. Alex lowered his gaze in shame. He had been gifted chances, yet he wasted them. The boy's determination was a mirror, showing Alex everything he had been avoiding. In that moment, something within Alex quietly shifted. Days later, still haunted by the image of Leo's determination, Alex made a decision he never thought he would. With shaky hands and a racing heart, he walked into the local community center and signed up for free English lessons. As he entered the small classroom, he felt his stomach twist. The room was filled with strangers, young and old, each there to learn, just like him. He sat in the back corner, hoping to go unnoticed. When the lesson began, Alex struggled. Every word felt heavy on his tongue, every sentence awkward and clumsy. His face burned with embarrassment as he stumbled through simple phrases. He wanted to quit right there. But then, something caught his eye. At the very front, sitting confidently, were Leo and his little sister. Their faces were bright with excitement, their voices filled with eagerness as they tried their best to speak. They stumbled too, but they didn't seem to care. They laughed at their mistakes and kept going, fearless in their learning. Alex's heart softened. He realized how much courage it took to show up, no matter how small your steps were. Suddenly, his own fear seemed silly in comparison to their innocence and bravery. During the break, as Alex sat quietly by himself, Leo approached him with a grin that could light up the whole room. "You're brave," Leo said, eyes sparkling with admiration. "Adults don't usually come here." Alex couldn't help but laugh, surprised by the boy's kindness. In that moment, the weight he had been carrying began to lift. He saw clearly that learning wasn't about perfection, it was about persistence. And sometimes, it was the smallest voices that reminded you how strong you could be. Weeks passed, and Alex kept showing up to every class, slowly shedding his fear. He practiced every night, stumbling less with each word, his confidence growing little by little. One day, the teacher announced an English-speaking event, a simple open mic for learners to share their stories. To Alex's surprise, his name was on the list. His heart sank. The thought of speaking in front of others made his hands sweat. Every excuse flooded his mind, but then he remembered Leo's words, and the boy's fearless smile. He knew he couldn't run away this time. The day of the event arrived. The small room was packed with fellow learners, volunteers, and a few family members. Alex's heart pounded as he waited for his turn. When his name was called, he stood up, legs trembling, palms cold and clammy. He walked to the front, the microphone feeling heavy in his hand. At first, his voice shook. He stuttered, fumbling over his words as nervous laughter filled the air. For a moment, he thought about walking off the stage. But then, in the corner of the room, he spotted Leo and his sister, sitting at the front as always. They both smiled and gave him a big thumbs up, their eyes shining with encouragement. Something inside Alex clicked. He took a deep breath and spoke from his heart. "I was lazy," he began, his voice steadying. "I gave up many times. I thought it was too late for me. But today, I see courage in the smallest hearts around me. This isn't just about English. It's about proving to yourself that you can rise again." The room fell silent for a moment, then erupted into cheers and applause. Leo's voice rose above the crowd, cheering loudly. In that moment, Alex felt something he hadn't felt in years: pride. Weeks later, the community center looked brighter, filled with laughter and voices practicing new words. A small plaque had been placed on the front wall, right by the entrance. It read, "In honor of those who never give up, start where you are." The words seemed simple, but they carried deep meaning for everyone who walked through those doors. Alex stood outside, staring at the plaque with a quiet smile. His life had changed completely. He wasn't just a student anymore, he had become a volunteer, helping others who were just starting their journey. Every evening, he sat with nervous learners, sharing his own story and encouraging them through every awkward mistake and small victory. Among his students was Leo, still as bright and determined as ever. But now, instead of looking up to Alex from a distance, Leo sat beside him like an old friend. They often laughed together during lessons, cheering each other on with every new word learned. Alex had found more than just his voice, he had found his purpose. He no longer measured success by the world's standards. Instead, he found it in every smile, every thank you, and every spark of hope in the eyes of the people he helped. As the sun began to set, casting a soft golden glow over the center, Alex's voice echoed softly in a narration, like a message carried by the wind. Prove yourself, not to the world, but to the person you see in the mirror every day. Kill your laziness. Start small. Keep going. The world changes with one small step at a time. And with that, Alex stepped back inside, ready to help others take their first step. This story is a heartfelt reminder that true change begins from within. It follows Alex, a young man trapped by his own laziness and fears, who once dreamed of speaking English fluently and inspiring others. Through a simple yet powerful wake-up call. A voice message from his late father, and an unexpected encounter with a determined young boy named Leo, Alex finds the courage to confront his excuses and start over. The story beautifully highlights the universal struggle of self-doubt and procrastination, but also shows how even the smallest acts of bravery can create lasting impact. From watching Leo's determination to learning alongside others at the community center, Alex transforms from a passive dreamer into an active learner and, eventually, a mentor. His emotional speech during the open mic becomes the turning point, not only for himself but for others in the room, proving that vulnerability and persistence are far more powerful than perfection. By the end, Alex finds new purpose as he helps others take their first steps, realizing that the greatest victory isn't proving yourself to the world, but to yourself. This story leaves us with an inspiring message. No matter how lost or stuck you feel, it's never too late to rise, start small, and keep going. The path to change starts with one simple, courageous step.